Hi, not that long ago I talked about the truth about lithium batteries. Now, today I'm going to talk about lead acid. Now, you can see my girlfriend's car's out there right now. Her car did not start the other day, and we have been getting severely cold weather. Unfortunately, her car has a very bad parasitic draw. Not only does her radio pull power, but when she turns her key on, before the ignition even starts, the lights come on. I absolutely hate that. I detest that. When she turns her car off, the lights, including the headlights, stay on for a good 10 minutes. That is a massive parasitic draw. But if you are having issues with your battery and your car starting in winter, there can be a couple things. I did take her battery out. It did test at 12.2 volts. Now, just to be sure that one of the cells was not froze, I went and purchased another battery. She has a brand new battery in that car. It will not start. It will not make a clicking noise. It will not do anything. Now, when I turn the key on, all the lights on the inside come on, headlights come on, everything comes on, but it will not turn over. Unfortunately, I think in her case, her starter solenoid or her starter froze. Now, I'm going to talk about lead acid and why you have an issue in winter. But before I do, you can see my solar panels. They slid down. The one slid down earlier, but it is snowing. So a little bit of my panel's exposed. I have two lead acid batteries out here. I'm going to take a reading again. I know I took one in my lithium video, but these batteries have been literally outside, one for 7 years and one for 8 years. Winter, spring, summer, fall. .8 volts. They are not froze. They will not freeze. My solar is hardly working at all. About the only panel that's working is this one on this end, and just a part of it is working. Now, as you can see, my van is gone. Unfortunately, it is snowing, and I absolutely hate this. My van does have summer tires. I went this morning and bought some tire chains, but unfortunately, I couldn't get the damn things on. They really look too long. I got them around the tire, tried to tighten them down. They were extremely loose. I mean, there's probably 5 inches of chain just hanging off the front and off the back. So I think they may have gave me the wrong set of tire chains at Les Schwab. Right here, I paid $179.99 for a set of tire chains. Let's see if you can. Today. Now, it's under my girlfriend's name because they already had her phone number. That's where she got her tires for the car. So, and since I do not have a phone, we just use her phone number. Now, if your car's not starting correctly in winter or it's dragging, I'm going to tell you why. First of all, lead acid in colder temperatures can be much better than lithium. Midnight's fat heads in the way. This is an estimation of when lead acid batteries will freeze. At what temperatures, by what percent is in your battery. Now, this is an estimation. I have seen lead acid batteries freeze around 70% at minus 15 with 12.1, 12.2 volts. But I have seen that happen. It happens rarely, but I have seen it happen. Now, the reason my batteries will not ever freeze is because they're at 100%. So, we're going to talk real quick about a parasitic draw and your driving habits. Once again, we're going to take my girlfriend's car. You can use your car and compare what I say with your own vehicle. When you turn off your car, if you have a radio, that radio pulls power out of the battery to keep the preset set. to keep your channel set and to keep the time. So it does pull power out of your battery. Now it doesn't pull much, but it does pull some. So if you haven't started your car in probably a week, that battery is going to be drawn down a little bit. Most of the reason your battery is going to freeze or drag when you start it is because of your driving habits. So I'm going to discuss something and see if this fits you. You start your car. You go to a gas station. Turn off your car. Then let's say you go to a store. Now, it wouldn't matter if you went to the store first or the gas station second, whatever. Or even if you just went to the store and home. Depending on how far away you drive and how far back you drive, your alternator may not charge your battery up fully. Because you have to realize it takes a great deal of power out of that battery to crank that motor. So, you cranked it at home and you cranked it at the store. And if you went to the gas station, you cranked it again. So let's get rid of the gas station, because most people only do that once a week. Now, if the temperature is going to be extremely cold, anything under 32 degrees, I advise you make sure your battery is 100%. Now, this says at 0% it'll freeze at 32 degrees. So if your battery is all the way down, of course it's going to freeze. Your battery is basically 70% water and like 30% sulfuric acid. Okay? Now, if you had to add water to your battery, which is distilled water, you just made that percentage of acid go down by adding water. You made the water percentage go up. Water freezes. So, let's get back onto the driving habits. If you are starting and stopping your car 2 or 3 times and literally only driving a half a mile, your battery is not going to charge back up. Now, my girlfriend's car, I believe, has a 50 amp alternator. Now, when her car was dragging, it just started all of a sudden when the temperature got extremely cold. It hit -20, and that's what happened. So I thought, well, she does have a very bad parasitic draw. She has one of those damn cars where you turn the key in, start turning the car on, before the engine even spins, the headlights come on. You turn the car off, the lights are literally on for 10 minutes after you pull that key out of the ignition. Those headlights stay on. They automatically shut off. That's a huge parasitic draw. Now, in your case, you may not have the headlights, but you may only drive half a mile. Let's say you need to go to the store to get a loaf of bread and a gallon of milk. You start that car at home. You drive half a mile, turn that car off, go shopping, start that car again when you get done at the store, and then you drive home another half a mile. That is not nearly enough time for that alternator to charge that battery back up fully. If you know it is going to be in the negative degrees, I don't care if it's going to be 0. I don't care if it's going to be 4 degrees. If it's below freezing, when you get home, sit there for a few more minutes, rev that engine up to around 2,000, 2,600 RPMs, and let it run for about 10 to 15 minutes. Get that alternator really kicking that power out into that battery. If you're not charging your battery fully, now remember, you still have, if you have a radio, you still have a parasitic draw. If you have headlights, they're automatic, parasitic draw if they don't shut off when you turn your car off. Now this is an estimation, okay? And some truckers are going to disagree with me on this. But remember, if you're a trucker, you have big ass batteries, probably a 150 amp alternator, if not higher. And most of the time you're running your truck, charging those batteries up. Your average lead acid battery, even at 100%, the average temperature is -60 to -70. Now this says -94. Would I trust that number? Absolutely not. -60 to -70, I would say Fahrenheit. At 100%, your battery will not freeze until it hits -60 to -70. Other things may freeze. Now, I did take my girlfriend's battery out of her car. I brought it in the house for a couple nights, let it set, tested it again. It was at 12.2 volts. So she has a brand new battery on her car where the starter or starter solenoid has literally froze and it's not working. Unfortunately, she has to drive my van. Now, my van has a dual cycle marine battery that has 1,000 marine cranking amps. Now, I don't know what the hell the difference is between marine cranking and cold cranking, but I know my van starts just fine. And that's with the temperature being in the minuses. Here's the thing. If you know you have a vehicle that's just going to be sitting, you know it's going to be in the minuses, go out there and start that thing and let it run for at least an hour every couple days and let that battery charge back up. If you can't do that because you don't have the gas, pull your battery out of your car, stick it in the house. Now, I understand this is rare cases where a lot of people can't do this. You have to drive your car. Change your driving habits. Every time you start your car, a huge amount of power is pulled from your battery. And it takes time for your alternator to put that power back. Now, like I said, my girlfriend's car, I believe, has a 50 amp alternator. My van, on the other hand, I believe it's a 90 amp. Much, much heavier, much bigger, much more power. So my van will charge battery quicker. I ended up taking the battery out of her car, hooking it up in my van, starting my van, letting it run, turned. I have a shut-off switch in there. If you watch my videos, you know my van inside is wired for a DC to AC power inverter. I wired it up, her battery. Let my van run. Of course, I went today to get some tire chains, which I actually couldn't get on, and that really sucks, because I hope she doesn't get stuck or get in an accident. But my van started right up, and it is charging her battery along with mine. My battery charges first, then any extra power goes into hers. Her battery is now above 13 volts. Understand your driving habits is one of the huge reasons why your battery is going to fail in the winter. You're not giving your alternator enough time to charge that battery back up to 100%. And then you have to count parasitic draw, a radio, CD player, anything with a clock, anything that's digital that has to keep settings, you know, your stations or whatever. If you have a vehicle with those damn automatic headlights, that's a pretty big parasitic draw when it is -4 degrees and then your headlights stay on for 10 minutes after your car shuts off. You have to get your battery's percentage up for it to not freeze and for it to work properly when you need it. Now, I have discussed lithium. And like I said, on this, a lot of truckers probably are going to, well, no, our batteries last. Duh, you have what, a 250 amp alternator, and you leave your motor running pretty much 24/7? And you have those giant batteries with umpteen billion amps in them? I mean, come on. But the point is, your driving habits are the main reason that your battery is going to fail. You do not give your alternator enough time to charge them back up. If you have lithium, you know they do not charge under 32 degrees Fahrenheit. That's why we plan on getting lithium. Unfortunately, with the new battery from my girlfriend's car and the tire chains, the $500 we had put back is now gone. And now I got to be able to get those chains on, so hopefully she can drive my van again this week. But think about it. It's your driving habits. Now, your alternator may be bad or going bad. That could be a fact. Your starter may be going out or gone out. That could be a fact too. But if your battery freezes, literally freezes into a block of ice, most of the time that's your own fault. Every time you start your car, huge surge of power is pulled out of the battery. You have to get that power back in. You have to get that battery charged. Now, I went to the gas station the other day. Actually, the other day, when I got her new battery. I actually had her car started. It drug, and then it started right up. So, I went to the gas station, put gas in her car, and got a new battery. And here's the thing. There were people out there trying to jumpstart their cars. They couldn't get their cars to start. There was a girl next to me on the pump, right next to mine. She had a jump starter. I had my Walmart EverStart jump starter. I did not have the lithium. I just had the jump starter, which is this one over here. She had one that was made by a different company, and she was trying to jumpstart her vehicle. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Okay? I took mine out of the car, hooked it up with hers, turned it on, nothing. This jump starter would not even read. It would not put out any power because her battery literally was a frozen block of ice. She had no current in her battery. I looked at her battery, it was bulging. It was completely froze. She said she had to get somebody to jumpstart her so she could get to a gas station, and she thought she'd be able to just start it right up. Her battery was froze. So I couldn't help her. I was on the way to get a new battery because I thought my girlfriend's battery was bad. And I didn't have my jumper cables that have the post for the side mount. My girlfriend's car is a side mount. Side post. Neither one of our jump starters would actually put power out through the clamps. Her battery had no power. So neither one of these jump starters would read. And unfortunately, I did not have the lithium pack with me, which has the God or boost mode. So I couldn't help her. She thought Once she got her vehicle started, just driving, literally just driving to the gas station, it would start back up. That was a bad decision on her part. Once again, my lead acid batteries outside in the snow, in the rain, in the cold will never freeze because they are at a constant 100%. Now, if I had to use the power out of them, here's the trick, folks. If you're using power out of the battery, put power back into the battery at the same time. You want it charging. It will not freeze when it's charging. Also, when you put water, distilled water, distilled water in your battery, it changes the percentage of what's in that battery. In a battery, it's like 70% water, 30% like sulfuric acid. When you add water, it makes the percentage of acid go down. So that battery is going to be easier to freeze. When you add water, you have to make sure that battery charges back up to 100% to help that acid, because you added extra water. You know, a lot of people are having issues right now. But trust me on this. If you have lithium, or if you're interested in lithium, that's fine, that's great. Remember, lithium will not charge below 32 degrees. You can go online right now, go on YouTube, go online, and they're talking about all these damn cars. They're literally giant paperweights because they won't charge. Now with the Teslas, they have what's known as like a precondition mode when it's below 32 degrees, that it heats up the batteries and prepares the batteries for charging. But apparently that's not working for everybody. Your driving habits are the main reason your battery's going to fail you this winter or next winter. It start and stop, start and stop, start and stop. Every time you start your vehicle, a huge amount of power gets pulled. You have to make sure that power gets put back, or your battery is going to be affected. Anytime you have a parasitic draw, such as a radio, headlights, things like that are pulling power after the vehicle shut off, you need to make sure that vehicle is at 100%, because those things are still going to be pulling power out of the battery after the alternator shut down. If you found that your battery is starting to get slow and your vehicle is dragging a little bit when you're starting it and it's cold, there's a good chance it's because you're not filling your battery back up. You're not driving it enough, letting it run enough for the alternator to charge the battery back fully. This is the downside of lead acid. I can use my lead acid batteries at minus 22. As long as I'm putting power back in at the same time with my solar, they're not going to freeze. Unless I draw them literally down to 0%. And if you've drawn your lead acid batteries to 0, you've ruined your batteries anyway. Always try to keep your lead acid batteries above 80% if you want them to last. 50% max. Do not ever draw more than 50% out of lead acid. And if they're charging, then I've never had a lead acid battery freeze on me while it's been charging. Like I said, my girlfriend's car, it drug after freezing temperatures. Then it just didn't want to start. Brand new battery, it won't start. Brand new terminals, it won't start. But if your vehicle is dragging when you start it, and your starter's fine, your alternator's fine, everything's fine, it's your driving habits. You are starting that car too much and not letting it charge back up. If you have a vehicle that's just sitting and you only start like once a week, if that, and let it run for like 20 minutes, if you know it's going to be in the negative temperatures, pull the battery out. Put it somewhere warm. Because a sitting battery will discharge. And once it's discharged, it can freeze. These are estimations of temperatures. I do know at 100% most lead acid batteries will not freeze at negative 60 to negative 70 degrees. Now, they say negative 94. I don't buy it. I believe that is too cold. Even though it's like 30% sulfuric acid in a battery, that's still 70% water. I believe at 94 that would freeze. These are estimations. Change your driving habits. If you haven't gone very far, such as like to the store, just at the gas station up the road, when you get home, let your car run, give it a little bit of gas, get those RPMs up for 10-15 minutes, maybe longer, to get that battery back up. Or you may regret it later when that battery is dragging trying to start your vehicle. Or when it freezes. Alright, this is 30 minutes. I'm fixing to go. This is the downside of lead acid. As long as it's fully charged, it can get really, really cold and be fine. But change your driving habits. If your batteries are not fully charged, there's a good chance it's your driving habits. I mean, you can also change your alternator. Put a higher amperage alternator. Send more power to the batteries. Alright, I'm fixing to go. Like I said, all batteries have their downside. This is the truth about lead acid. You saw my batteries outside. My solar panels are covered in snow. Except for like part of one is barely showing. Where the snow, fell down. And then it got snowed on some more. But my batteries are over 13 volts. 13.8 I believe it is. And they're fine. Because they stay fully charged. Alright, I'm fixing to go. Hope this helps somebody out. Once again, here are the temperatures. And the degrees that supposedly freezes at. Take that with a grain of salt. If your battery's at 90% and it's minus 40, I guarantee your battery's going to lag or freeze at least in one cell. We hit minus 22, and I really believe my girlfriend's battery in one cell froze. Now, once it thawed out and I got it on a charge, yeah, it's taking a charge and keeping a charge. But at minus 22, it was having a little bit of issue. Even though it showed like 12.2 volts. I believe that's what it was. It was having some issues. but your car may not be like hers. Hers has that massive parasitic draw. Whether she turns the car just on ACC before the car even comes on, the headlights come on, and when she turns her car off, the headlights stay on for 10 minutes. Yours may not be like that. If your car's not like that and you don't have a $4,000 stereo system with all this other crap hooked up, and you find that your battery's starting to drag a little bit, it's your driving habits. You have to change them, or you have to sit out there and rev that car up to get that alternator spinning hard enough and fast enough to put extra power into your battery, because you're draining your battery and not charging it. All right, that's it. I'm fixing to go. I hope this helps somebody out. It is winter, which sucks, but a lot of people are having issues. A lot of people right now with Teslas and electric cars can't charge them. They're giant paperweights. You can look that up online and see for yourself. It's just too cold. All right, that's it. I'm fixing to go. Have a good day or night wherever you're located. Bye.